you want to has
Hello and welcome back to Waadaplaya Concussion Sub Series. Arch rivals Australia versus England, ranked third and fourth on ICC Test rankings. One barely plays the white
yeah.
ball, while the other might be playing too much cricket. Australia have played one four Test series since January 2020, while they lost at home against an understrength India and have not played overseas since 2019 Ashes. England, meanwhile, are about to play their fifth series of the calendar year in 2021. Six tests in Sri Lanka and India, and six at home against New Zealand and India, but have won just four of those. For Australia, it's a new beginning for a new era. Pat Cummins taking over the captaincy, and for England, winning the Ashes or trying to regain the Ashes after 10 years in Australia. We have Rick from Australia joining in all the way from Sydney and Anil Jain from India to talk about day one at Gabba. Welcome both. How did you enjoy the first day of Australian Summer Ashes series?
Okay, I will start. I think we just lost Rick there for a second. I think it was great. The first ball of Ashes. I don't remember when was it last time. I think 1934 or something, where uh, the first ball resulted into a wicket. And what a ball! What a start from Mitchell Stark. Rightly said. His positions in the team was also doubtful at the start of the Test match, but then he proved himself, and that's great to see how he started. And then Pat Cummins and Josh Hazelwood. I
It's
don't
quite
remember what
a
was the when was
remarkable
correct.
day, really. I'd say. Yeah,
Now, I was just saying about Josh Hazelwood and Pat Cummins. I don't remember when was the last time uh, their length was not correct. I don't remember at all. I remember Josh Hazelwood coming to the scenario, Pat Cummins, and they've always hit that length correctly. No deviation at all. They did the same thing here. If you don't apply yourself, you're gonna get out. That
Hmm.
was as simple as that, and that's what happened with the England. The first five batsmen didn't apply themselves. I think I don't know the nerve was coming down first test match in Australia. So you could say that there could have been some nervous patchwork there.
Mhm.
But definitely the way Pat Cummins and the way Josh Hazelwood bowled was really good. Then some positives on the England side. I think Hamid had a short period of resiliency. Ollie Pope, it looked like Ian Bell is part of the 11. He played like Ian Bell. Then you have Josh Butler playing his own. So that was good.
Mhm.
I think what they would miss out more is that they didn't get a chance to bowl to Australia during this condition. I think if they would have bowled some even 20 odd overs, they would have a chance to take a couple of three wickets, and that would have made the match much more interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rick, over to you. How did you enjoy the day one of Ashes? The build-up was fantastic. And did the day one meet your expectations from an Australian fan perspective? We are having a slight bit of technical glitch, but we will have Rick back pretty soon. Rick, you're still with us? And then meanwhile, how good was Pat Cummins' captaincy? He did not look like he was captaining for the first time ever.
Yeah, I mean he looked in proper control. Never looked like you said the first time. His bowling changes were right on time. You had Cam Green coming
Well,
up and bowling.
for
We have Rick back.
last few Ashes, first all of the Ashes series has been defined memory of Steve Harmon in 2000.
Yeah, Anil. So Pat Cummins, I think it's very clear mentioning that probably is after a long time getting that first ball wicket of Mitchell Stark. I
Yeah.
mean, he definitely lit the game up and set the game up for Australia.
Definitely. And then when he came back, also the ball, I think he bowled to Butler.
Mm,
Yes, so that was really nice. It looked like he may be the not be in complete form per se, but that bowling, that over actually proved that he's still the Mitchell Stark we know.
mm,
Then Pat Cummins' captaincy, I would say that I was surprised the way he was bringing the changes. He underutilized Nathan Lyon because he figured out the pitch has a lot of pace left in it. He
mm.
went ahead with Cam Green. He went ahead with Mitchell Stark, and then he realized, okay, you're there are already 6 wickets down. He brought himself back and then clear out the tails. So that was really great. Yeah.
Okay. And from the England perspective, the only positive was Ollie Pope and Joss Butler partnership. They were the only two batters who potentially looked like they could face the bowling, especially Josh Butler. I think he was
Yeah.
nicely set up for 100. Unfortunately, he got out for a pretty good ball.
Yeah, so I was really happy the way Josh Butler started it. It didn't look like he's in any kind of pressure that he has to stay on the pitch and kind of not play his natural game. So I was really happy. And then Ollie Pope also supported really well. He was doing his task, again, not under pressure, but he was playing really nicely. Even Hamid, I actually really wanted to see him score a 50 at least. I think he looked in a good touch, but I think it was a great bowling from the Australian team that resulted in his wicket. Yeah.
We have Rick back online. If he can try one more time to get his view from an Australian perspective, how well they played for day one in Gabba.
Hello.
Hello.
Well, see, as I was starting to say before, I think the anticipation with the Ashes are defined these days. The start of the Ashes are defined pretty much by Steve Harmison in 2006. That first board sort of we think look at the defining what goes after, and I think today's first ball really set us up for quite an outstanding series with Mitchell Stark bowling around our legs to Rory Burns. First ball was just amazing, and especially I think that was a bit of a retribution or redemption for Stark, who was been under a little bit of criticism as being sort of not past his peak.
Mm,
Outstanding captaincy today from Pat Cummins, you have to say. I think it was just a perfect debut for him, as if he breezed into the job as if he'd been doing it for ages. Held off and taking the new ball to himself. He gave Stark a couple of overs and then took over. Um, to yeah, to be the outstanding bowler of a quite strong Australian troop. A bit of some ordinary batting from the English players at the top, particularly from
mm,
some other odd dismissals from the likes of from Milan and poor old Joe Root not scoring.
mm,
Um, it was also good to see Cameron Green get among the wickets. His first wicket, and helped along by Josh Hazelwood there in the We took 2 wickets and catches in the outfield. But really, for England, it's not much you can say apart from Joss Butler and a bit from Hasib Hamid will anchor the England innings, but eventually he did. But great day for Australia. Pity that we only got 2 sessions out of it. 50 overs, just about a one-day innings from England, all out for 147. There you go.
Yeah, that's a great summary, Rick. And if weather permitting, do England have a chance in this test match at all, or should we consider that first test match is done and dusted for England? Because 147 coming back after getting all out in 2 sessions on day one, I mean, it has to take a monumental effort from team like England, but I don't know if they have enough players to make a comeback, Rick.
Over to you guys.
Okay. Anil, what do you think? Do England have a chance at all after 147 all out?
I mean, really difficult. If the pitch permits tomorrow, if the weather permits tomorrow, if England can get Australia out for 250 in a max 100, 120 lead, then the third and fourth day, the pitch becomes easier for batting, and then England can try to score 400 run and 50, um, having Australia chase. That's the only simple scenario that I can think. Other than that, I don't. It's going to be really monumental effort from the England team. But I think they do have the firepower when it comes to bowling, so they should look to restrict Australia at a very smaller target. The main batsman for
Well, it
Australia,
depends what Wood and
Warner,
Wokes Robinson can do tomorrow morning.
yeah. Now, I was saying the main batsmen for Australia would be Warner, Smith, and Labuschagne. If they click, then it's bye bye for England for the first test match at least.
Okay. Rick, what do you think? England have any chance at all based on your experience? We'll give a few seconds for Rick to come in. But looking at the scoreboard, especially from the team combinations, Anil, England look quite disparity in terms of Australia experience, whether it is batting, bowling versus England. And I was listening to the commentary. I think 6 or 7 players in the playing 11 now from England are playing for the very first time in Australian soil. So that is quite a lot of experience difference between Australia and England.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you look at Australia, top six players, three pro batsmen, you have three pro bowlers,
I think
and
they
even
still
Nathan Lyon.
do. A lot will depend on what Wood and Wokes and Robinson can. Um, it's a bit of a surprise that they left out Stuart Broad, especially considering Dave Warner's experience against Broad. But
Yeah, that's actually a good point, Anil, right? Especially the bowling combination of England. Firstly, Jimmy Anderson, who seemed like all set to play first test, he was made to sit down, or I don't know if he had an injury. And then Broad not playing. So all we have is Chris Wokes, Jack Leach, and Mark Wood, who probably never bowled to Aussies on an Australian tour. So it's pretty
Yes,
hard, looks like it.
yeah, that was surprised me. I mean, I understand the break that they were giving to Stuart Broad and James Anderson, but at least one bowler should have played from them. You should have Broad or Anderson playing because Oli Robinson, Mark Wood, Jack Leach, and sorry, I'm forgetting the other fast bowler, Chris Wokes.
Chris Wokes.
Yeah, so they don't have that experience in bowling at this pitch. So some kind of experience, some kind of you know I mean, they could have followed how Broad would have bowled, how Anderson would have bowled. They could have put that pressure on the Australian batsmen. So I would have preferred going with Broad and keeping either Wokes or Markwood out. I really like Ollie Robinson. I think his height and the way he
Mm,
bowls is really nice. So I'm looking forward to seeing him bowl.
mhm. Rick, bowling department of England definitely is weaker for this Australian batting lineup. We'll wait for Rick to come in, but what can we expect going into first session of tomorrow? Quick wickets of England. Otherwise, if we see a 100-run partnership or a 50-run partnership from openers of Australia, I think this game is quickly running away from England going into tomorrow, Anil.
Yeah, definitely. So if they survive, there's also chance of rain tomorrow, also in the afternoon. So if
Hmm.
the first two sessions are survived by Australia, then we move on to the day three where batting becomes easier,
Hmm.
and then I don't think so Australia will be batting again if that happens. So
Okay.
the key strategy for England has to be to take down the first three batsmen as early as possible,
Okay.
or not allow them to score, or not allow them to have a free hand at it.
Got it. And from Australia perspective, key batters to look forward for. I know Warner is raring to go, but Steve Smith, who hasn't been in particularly good form in a white ball setup,
Well,
definitely will be good.
definitely. I mean, Wood, Broden, Leach, not quite the experience and line, is it? But and although it's sort of half expect Anderson to be sort of doing to be rotated in and out.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Anderson playing five test match. We all knew that he won't be fit to play five test matches, but I would have at least hoped for them to have him play on the season opener because he's their best bowler. And like they say always in cricket, Anil, play your best 11. And clearly England lost a plot here.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised because this pitch, Gabba pitch, also supports both Anderson and Broad. So they should have played him, and it's the first Test match. If they starts really well, it also puts pressure on Australia in the other matches, and then you could have the other bowlers coming in for the second or third match,
Hmm.
and you can continue from there. At least the first, at least the start should have been with either Anderson or Broad. And I mean, they knew it's all, it's not something that the Ashes has been planned just a month back. They all knew this is when the test match is happening. This is how the team has to be. This is going to be the schedule. So I'm surprised that they still think that they need more time.
Hmm. Absolutely. Good stuff. So, look, I think Australian fans will be extremely happy with the day one. And England fans, unfortunately, the folks who were staying up to watch the day one will be very, very disappointed. We've seen some videos of Barmy Army in the pubs of UK late in the night enjoying. Hopefully, day two brings them some positivity for England fans. But definitely, Australia are on top with the opening day of Ashes. Lots to look forward for. Long way to go for the series, but yeah, I mean, so far so good for Australia and especially Pat Cummins. Fantastic start. We'll be continuing to do these daily reviews. So we'll be back again tomorrow, hopefully along with Rick to give us more insights. But really exciting to see Test cricket back on the calendar after a lot of white ball cricket. Anil, thanks for making time. Rick, if you're listening to us, really appreciate your insights. Hopefully tomorrow we will get you back on and we will cover the day too. Thanks very much for folks who have been watching and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Rick.